The wind blew dry across the broken asphalt of Highway 46 as the late afternoon sun dipped below the horizon, casting long golden shadows over the small, weather-beaten town of Brookridge. The kind of town that hadn't made the news in over a decade. Just another forgotten place where time seemed to crawl, and the biggest excitement came from Friday night football or an occasional high-speed chase through the county. On this particular Thursday, the town was quiet, as it usually was. But at precisely 5:41 p.m., the phone rang at the Brookridge Police Department, a call from the clerk at Miller's Gas and Mart on the outskirts of town. "Yeah, we've got a guy hanging around outside," the voice said nervously. "Looks military. Got a backpack, tactical gear, maybe a weapon, real quiet, just watching. I don't like the look in his eyes." In towns like Brookridge, people watched movies, not real danger. A man in military fatigues pacing around with no smile. And no purpose that could spook folks. And when they're spooked, they call the cops. Within 5 minutes, 3 cruisers rolled out from the station. The lead car was manned by Officer Gary Haskins, a 25-year veteran with a square jaw and thick, bristling mustache that hadn't changed since '98. Behind him was Officer Simmons, young, eager, still fresh off probation. The third car, driven by Sergeant Judy Harper, was backup. No one expected much, just a mentally unstable vet or a drifter who needed redirecting. When they arrived, the gas station was mostly empty, save for a single old pickup at Pump 3. But there he was, standing still, facing the edge of the lot, not the store. The man was tall, maybe 6'2", broad-shouldered but lean, like someone who'd spent his life doing functional work, not lifting weights in a gym. His jacket was worn, almost dusty, a faded olive drab with no unit patches. The jeans tucked into his boots were torn at the knees. The rucksack on his back looked military-grade, frayed but functional. And holstered on his hip, barely visible beneath his jacket, was a weapon. The 3 officers approached cautiously. "Sir?" Haskins called out, hand near his sidearm. "We need to have a quick word." The man turned, slowly, purposefully, like someone who measured his every move. His eyes were sharp, pale blue, almost grey, the kind of stare that doesn't look at you but through you. There was no aggression in him, just readiness. He didn't speak, he just nodded once. "What's your name?" Haskins asked. "Cole," the man said. One word, calm, deliberate. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't used it in days. "Cole what?" "Just Cole. You got ID?" Cole reached for his back pocket and pulled out an old leather wallet. Inside was a few bills, a faded photo of a young girl, and an out-of-state driver's license, expired 3 years ago. No credit cards, no social media print, no address in the system, just a ghost of a man with nothing to prove he belonged to the world. "You headed somewhere?" Haskins asked. "North," Cole replied. "You got business here?" "No." "Why did you stop?" "Needed gas, thought I'd rest, that was it, no more, no less, no defensive attitude, no signs of mental distress, no threats. Just a quiet, weathered man in silence. But Simmons, young, zealous, full of suspicion, spotted the pistol. "Is that loaded?" he asked sharply. Cole didn't flinch. "Yes. You have a permit for that." "Don't need one." "Federal." "Carry authorization. Where's that paperwork?" Cole stared. "Classified." That's when Simmons motioned to Haskins. "He's dodging," he said. "This is sketchy as hell." Haskins agreed. Too many unknowns. And in a world where every encounter could go south, they made the call. "Sir, I need you to turn around and place your hands behind your back." Cole didn't move. "Sir, I won't ask again." Cole sighed, just a whisper of breath, and turned, calmly placing his hands behind him. The cuffs went on. No resistance, no emotion, just quiet. They searched his bag. Inside, a sleeping mat, a weather-sealed journal, protein bars, 3 maps marked in red ink, a compact satellite radio without a visible antenna, a disassembled rifle wrapped in oilcloth, every part meticulously clean, and a patch sewn. Inside the flap of the bag, it was barely noticeable, matted black on black, a sniper's reticle overlaid on a skull, and the number 042. Simmons raised an eyebrow. "What is this? A biker gang thing?" Cole said nothing. Back at the station, they logged his possessions, ran his prints, and waited. Nothing came back. No criminal record, no federal watch list, no missing persons, just nothing. Like he didn't exist. But Officer Riley, and the youngest on the force, also a former Army Ranger turned cop, saw the patch and froze. He leaned over Simmons's shoulder. "Where'd you say he was arrested?" "Gas station." "Let me see that patch again." He studied it, took a photo, then walked away and made a call on his personal phone. The call went to a friend of a friend, someone who worked inside the military's Office of Special Reconnaissance. After a few back-and-forth texts and a long, tense pause, the reply came, "If that's real, you just arrested a Tier 1 ghost." Riley's stomach dropped. He stormed into the captain's office. "We need to let him go, now." Captain Donnelly frowned. "What are you talking about?" "That guy, Cole, that patch in his bag. That's a sniper designation from a classified joint ops unit. Blacker than black, Tier 1. Those guys don't show up in databases for a reason. If you've got one of them locked in a cell, someone very high up is about to rain hell down on this place." Donnelly scoffed. "So what? You're telling me we just cuffed Jason Bourne?" "I'm telling you," Riley said, "he probably saved more lives than this whole town put together, and he didn't resist. He's trained not to. But if someone green-lighted his disappearance and we exposed him, you better pray the people who sent him don't find out." But it was too late. They already had. The buzz of fluorescent lights filled the silence in the Brookridge precinct. Cole Mercer sat alone in a dimly lit holding cell, his back straight against the wall, fingers laced together as if in silent prayer. His face was still, unreadable. The kind of face sculpted by war, by too many nights without sleep, by too many choices that cost other men their lives. He didn't move. Not even when the officers passed by his door to sneak glances. Not when Sergeant Harper stared in quiet confusion. Not even when Officer Simmons, who had arrested him, stood a few feet away behind the glass wall and muttered, "He's not even blinking." Cole had been in places darker than this, dirt floors in spider-infested jungle huts, underground rooms in collapsing embassies, sub-zero caves where breath froze in the air. Being in a small-town holding cell didn't rattle him. It was the stillness that unsettled the others, and still no charges had been filed, no name on record, no identification validated. Captain Donnelly, growing frustrated, leaned back in his chair and scowled. "He's bluffing. This whole ghost soldier thing, a tactic. That patch could be fake, the ID could be part of some militia nonsense." Riley, the only one in the room with a deep enough military background to know better, snapped back. "Then explain why there's zero record of him. No birth certificate, no tax file, no last known address. You think that's some rural prepper stunt? That's government-level erasure. You don't get that unless you've done something that never officially happened." But before the argument could escalate, the phone on the captain's desk rang. Not the main line, not even his direct line. This one had never rung in the 5 years since he'd been promoted. It was red, unmarked. "Old." The captain answered it. A single voice came through, low, clipped, formal. "This is Command Control. A representative from the Department of Defense will be arriving at your station within the hour. Do not release the detainee. Do not speak to him. Do not contact outside press. This is a national security matter." Before Donnelly could speak, the line went dead. The room fell silent. A slow, cold realization crept in. They had touched something they didn't understand. At exactly 10:17 p.m., the roar of 2 black SUVs shattered the stillness of the night. They pulled up in front of the station without sirens, but every head inside turned toward the window. 4 men stepped out first, all in black suits with earpieces, scanning the perimeter with military precision. Then the passenger door of the lead SUV opened. Out stepped a man whose very presence made the air seem heavier. Polished black shoes, pressed uniform with stars glinting off the shoulders, chest full of medals. Silver Star, Distinguished Service Cross, Defense Superior Service Medal, and more rows upon rows that only told half the story. But the nameplate was clear. General Nathaniel Briggs, 4-star Legend. He didn't walk. He advanced, each step carrying the weight of authority earned over 3 decades in the darkest corridors of war and global conflict. The automatic doors slid open. Every officer in the station stood. Even Captain Donnelly involuntarily straightened. General Briggs didn't address them. He didn't demand respect. He simply walked through the station like it belonged to him until he reached the holding cells. There, behind the reinforced glass, sat Cole Mercer, still motionless, still silent. Briggs looked at him for a long moment, and then, with surprising gentleness, opened the door himself. He walked inside, closed it and locked it behind him. No one knew what was said in the 5 minutes that followed. The cameras were shut off. The audio was cut. But those who peeked saw something they never expected. The general, one of the most powerful men in the armed forces, sat across from the sniper like an old friend. And when they finally stood, the general removed the cuffs from Cole's wrists himself. He didn't yell, didn't scold. He just turned to the officers outside the cell and said one word: "Sorry." Then he walked out. The officers were frozen. "What the hell is going on?" Captain Donnelly finally asked. Briggs turned to face them all. "You want to know who you just arrested? Fine, I'll tell you." He pointed to Riley. "You figured it out first. That patch in his bag, that's real. One of only a few in existence. You don't get that patch unless you've survived a sniper program so brutal it eats men alive. And Cole didn't just survive it. He led missions no one here could even imagine." He paced slowly, deliberately. "While you were writing traffic tickets and chasing shoplifters, this man was eliminating foreign warlords, rescuing hostages from enemy territory, and neutralizing threats before they ever reached our shores. He was part of the Tier 1 initiative, Ghost Ops. No digital footprint, no family, no retirement plan, no recognition. He was the guy we sent in when diplomacy failed and drones were too obvious. The silence was suffocating." Briggs continued. 5 years ago, Cole took a shot that saved 112 lives. A hostage extraction in Syria. No credit, no glory. Just a ghost mission with deniability. Then we cut him loose. Told him to disappear. To live. Quietly. He did exactly what we asked. Harper finally whispered, "So why is he here now?" The general's jaw tightened. "Because we failed him. The kind of missions we sent him on don't leave a man whole. He was broken. He reached out for help 6 months ago. And no one answered. So now he walks the back roads of America, looking for a reason to stay alive. You cuffed a hero because he was too proud to beg and too damaged to explain." A long pause. Then the general added, "The only reason he didn't break out of those cuffs is because he respects the badge, even when the badge doesn't respect him." Donnelly's face flushed red. "Sir, we didn't know." "No, you didn't ask, that's worse." Briggs turned to Riley. "You, come with me. The rest of you, go home. You're not ready for this world." Outside, under the dim parking lot lights, Cole stood quietly, backpack over his shoulder, as the wind rustled his jacket. Riley approached him slowly, unsure of what to say. Cole nodded once. "Thanks for recognizing the patch." Riley nodded back. "Didn't think I'd ever see one in real life." "You didn't." Cole gave a faint, tired smirk. "I'm just passing through." Riley hesitated. "Where are you going?" "North," Cole said again. "Trees, silence, somewhere the ghosts can't follow." Riley wanted to ask more, but held back. Some questions don't deserve answers. Some men don't owe the world their stories. Briggs handed Cole a sealed envelope. Inside, a new ID, a letter of apology from the Department of Defense, and something more. Coordinates to a remote cabin stocked with food, heat, and communications gear. Not as a favor, not as charity, as an overdue debt. "I know you didn't ask for this," Briggs said, "but you earned it. Every inch of it." Cole looked at him. "You were in Langley. Operation Iron Frost. You sent me into that warehouse." Briggs nodded slowly. "I sent you in. You came back alone." Cole's voice dropped. "They didn't." Briggs said nothing, just placed a hand on Cole's shoulder. "We don't forget them, or you." Cole looked away. "Sometimes I wish you did." He turned and walked into the darkness, boots crunching gravel as he faded beyond the reach of the parking lot lights, a shadow among shadows. And that was the last time anyone in Brookridge saw him. In the months that followed, the story never hit the news. No press release, no scandal, just a quiet correction in the system. Riley was transferred to a special security unit. Briggs retired a year later. Donnelly never spoke of it again. And Simmons, he never again assumed a man's silence meant guilt. But legends do have a way of lingering. Sometimes, on the far edges of rural towns, people swear they see him. Tall man walking along the tree line with a heavy pack and sniper's eyes. No name, no questions, just a nod. And sometimes, when trouble finds them, a missing girl, a violent drifter, a gang that pushes too far, that trouble disappears. Just as fast, no evidence, no explanation, only a whisper left behind. The ghost walked through town.